I hope this is coherent. I put this together really recently. I was reading something from a while back. This campaign video Trump made back in February. It is very hateful. It attacks the youth in our country. Youth who are growing up at an age where they are fortunate to hear about other transgender people out there, to have role models, and perhaps realize that the notion of being transgender might apply in certain ways to how they have been feeling for themselves. Or maybe that same feeling applies to their classmates or a best friend or a sibling, someone in the family. I didn't have these role models or other resources when I was young, but I did have that feeling. To live in a time where the younger generation has that option more accessible to them, it is very beautiful. But Trump, of course, as unconscionable as he is, thought it moral to paint us all as the target, to paint our doctors as the target, to paint our community members like librarians or school faculty or even our own parents a target just because they support us. And I do have to say that reading the transcript of this video, I honestly think it was very well crafted. And please let me explain this. For one, every line stood out as quotable. It was a standalone blurb. It was perfect just to get a very quick 2-second for videos. Nowhere did he once use the word transgender. And this is rather intentional because this would be seen as validating that term. Not that it needs to be validated. It's already a valid term, and we know that. And of course, he can't do that. That's his agenda. He said words like child and minor and kids 15 times. I counted, and this was just 11 different things. So the specific word type to content ratio, it was very deliberate to use that iconery multiple times. They were really emphasizing the family values, kids angle. GOP really likes to project that for some reason, as if the general public does not already have children's best interests at heart. Now, Trump is not very smart. He is not a very stable genius. He's not even stable. This means that he had a team writing this. People paid professionally to attack our community, to attack trans people of color, to attack transgender youth, anyone non-binary or genderqueer, gender fluid, questioning. He set forth a coordinated effort to scapegoat us as the problem, a new problem for our country. And he's been doing that for quite some time. Fast forward to today. Yes, we lost this election. And it is very easy to lose hope. And I will repeat that. It is very easy to lose hope. They will take advantage of this loss and make the rest of us who voted for a better America ask, why did we lose? They will say it was because of us, because of our community, and the onus will be on us to prove that it was not. We already know they want some kind of scapegoat because it is easier to fuel hate than it is to step up and take responsibility in their offices and make real, effective changes for our country. Progressive ideas that would revolutionize our country in an ever-changing world. We cannot allow ourselves to become the scapegoat, and we cannot lose hope. We will see a lot of noise targeted at us, but I implore you to tune out this noise and focus on the love and the support from within our own community, as well as the love from outside our community. And it is there. It is hard to see when faced with this deluge of vile negativity. The current meta is to paint things as though more people than in fact do are against our community. Like I would say, look at the ally to hater ratio here. People knew we would be here. Where are the haters at? Maybe there are less than we actually realize. But online, they're very loud. They sound greater in numbers. And they always say, there are more of us than you. Prove it. Prove it. They will try to gaslight us into a corner of despair and isolation in order to make us feel that this is our fault until we are so crushed that we begin to believe it. But we are not alone. These bad faith actors are rather loud. Again, this is to drown out all the messages from the public, messages of encouragement, acceptance, and embrace. Like vultures, they will cry out to each other and focus on a target to circle, and circle, and circle, until their target is no more. These bad faith actors will say, why do you make everything about being transgender? We do not. In fact, we live very boring day-to-day lives. That said, we would like to continue to live boring day-to-day lives. These bad faith actors say, why do you make everything about your identity? Again, we in fact do not. They made everything about us, about our identity. Instead of humanizing us for our own other traits. Oh, you're trans? That's all you needed to say. I don't care about the rest of you now. We must persist. We must look to a brighter future. We must continue to be ourselves because they are banking on us to give up. They want us to do their work for them and accept defeat, to simply no longer exist, or to be proud that we exist. Our organization, Transgender Unity Coalition, would like to make a couple of announcements. This is Transgender Awareness Month. In fact, we see Transgender Day of Remembrance every November 20th. This day we memorialize those in our community who we've lost to targeted violence, to transphobia. It is a very solemn day. If you had to ask me why it is important to me, come find me afterwards and I will tell you. The 13th through the 19th, leading up to this day, is specifically Transgender Awareness Week. And that awareness is important. So for this reason, I would like to declare a new day, National Transgender Lobby Day. Woo! Woo! Yeah. To be held across this great country annually every year on the Saturday prior to Transgender Day of Remembrance. It is on this day that we will lobby our state capitals to make our rights heard. And yes, this does not mean don't lobby the rest of the week. This does not mean do not lobby the rest of the year. Because in fact, we ought to be doing this. We will need to be doing this. I personally invite those of us who are here, and anyone watching, to go to your state capitol this Saturday and make your voices heard. And from there, to continue to do so in protest, so long as we face these risks to our community, which foreseeably we will face. Because if hindsight is 20/20, foresight is 20/25. Michigan, this applies to all of us here. The House will flip bread next year. But right now, our House, our Senate, our governor, they are all blue. We have bills related to the transgender community waiting for us right now in limbo, and they have not had any movement recently. There is 1 month and maybe 2 if we are lucky before we lose this opportunity to safeguard our rights. Let's stand for our rights. We need Lansing to hear how important this is to us. We absolutely need Lansing to hear this. If the seeds of discrimination are permitted to be planted in one group and it grows, where does that tree end? If there is any time to build momentum, that time is now. Thank you so much. That was my call to action.